I have Mr. Emmanuel Kisembo, the chairperson of the Bunyoro Youth Initiative, as well as Gerald Walulya, a political analyst. They will, of course, be adding a little bit of flesh on what the minister has said, and also giving us a perspective on exactly where the region goes now, since the tectonic plates that hold the political landscape have shifted a little bit now. Some people are icked, others are happy. Whatever happens, the nation of Kenya must move on, and indeed the region. It's a significant landmark, of course, one that brings into play how other countries can take a leaf from what Kenya has done, especially when it comes to the conduct of what is widely believed to have been a little bit free and fair. I say a little bit because you never know. There are some who may mount a court move, and anything can happen. Evidence can come up, and we are told there was a bit of, tampering here and there. But by and large, Mr. Wafula Chebukati has come off as one who masterminded, of course, an election held free and fairly on the African continent. There are commentators who say his doorstep is where the electoral bad manners back stops and faith in the electoral system begins. I'll ask whether my guests agree. A very warm welcome, Mr. Gerald Walulya, Dr. Gerald Walulya, and Emmanuel Kisembo. Many thanks. What do you make of news of the election of William Ruto as 5th President of the Republic of Kenya? I'll start with you, Mr. Kisembo.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And of course, our viewers, when you look at Kenya elections, we have seen really what we call the will of the people. Because when you look at Article 1 of the Constitution, that is Article 1 of the Constitution, that power belongs to the people. Yeah. And of course, even here in Uganda, it is the same, that Article 1 talks about power belonging to the people. So we are seeing the will of the people. But now when you look at the will of the people, to be effective, or power belongs to the people to be effective. In Uganda, you look at Article 41. Article 41 talks about access of information, and of course, plus what we call Article 28, which talks about human rights, then plus what we call Article 38, which talks about participation. So when you look at that, we are seeing it in Kenya, where we have seen human rights have been respected. We have seen the media team, our media has been independent. You look at the institutions in Kenya, we have not seen the state actually influencing them. You find that even police, you look at the Kenya Defense Forces, they are all actually they have been distancing themselves from these polls and letting people to exercise their rights. And when you look at the Independent Electoral Commission of Kenya, I think it has done also a very, very good job there, whereby we have seen the chairperson taking up that bold step to announce the results after that scuffle which happened at Boma. If it would be like in Uganda, you would find that maybe they would even have assassinated some people, because they would term it as an attack on the Electoral Commission. So, but that's what we call free and fair. Free and fair means that these things can happen. People can have certain kind of things where they don't agree one another, but still you have to give room for everyone, platform for everyone, as such that everyone should feel that they have been given time to do what? To participate in whatever I intended to do what? To participate. So Kenya, whoever person has been announced, that is Dr. Ruto, I think the will of the people has been reflected. The will of the people has been reflected, even if we may get court cases, but at least I think Kenya is getting into the bandwagon of Ghana, Comoros. Even here in Tanzania, we have seen a free and fair election, not just like here in Uganda. You see the electoral chairperson comes onto the TVs and says Dr. Besigye has 1 million, President Yoweri Museveni has 5 million, but you don't know how did they reach to 5 million, how did they reach to actually 3 million. You find that journalists are crying, they have been abducted, the drones are everywhere. We have not seen that in Kenya. We have not seen that in Kenya, and up to now people are very, very free. The internet is open, Facebook is working, WhatsApp is working. That one shows there is some degree of free and fair election. That is when it comes to democracy. Because democracy, it is a free competition of ideas. You vote based on ideas, not on hand-picking. We have been at State House here. We went out of 130.
You know?
They tell us that you go, we shall tell you when you will go before the caucus. Before you even reach home, that the 6 incumbents have been picked to again represent
that's another
us in
that's
Yara.
a discussion for another day, no doubt. Allow me ask Dr. Gerald Walulya to give us his take on the election and of course the landmark fact that William Ruto is now 5th president of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to congratulate the people of Kenya upon electing their new president. I think for me 2 things stand out in the Kenyan elections. One of them is transparency, as he has been explaining, and the other one is independence. Because what we know is that election is a process. So we don't judge elections on activities or basing on activities of the election day, but it's rather a process that starts from activities such as voter registration, campaigning, and so on. So throughout this process, we have been seeing that all the contenders have been given the freedom to participate and to freely give to sell their programs to people, and this has helped everyone to know who is standing for what. So I think judging from what we have seen, I would say that Kenya is in a different league in terms of organizing elections, especially in this region. We can't even compare them to Tanzania because the results were there for everyone to view. And they did almost everything right until the 11th hour where they failed to agree. And I think that disagreement also reflects the different interests sometimes that may be harbored among the people within the commission. But overall, I think the process was very transparent. That's why even when it took so many days, people were willing to wait, because it was like someone who is traveling on a route but is under live streaming. So if he's coming from Masaka, you can know he has reached Lukaya, he has reached so you were waiting with hope because you could see what is going on. So I think this is a fundamental path that Kenya has taken, and I think it is something that they will want to build on and improve on a few things that may not have gone well. I think the major sticking issue in this election is because the election was too tight between the 2 leading candidates. And that must have caused some forms of suspicion that maybe someone did this or that. You remember the 100,000 votes they found that were illegally maybe stuffed or things like that. So they have such, I think, a feeling that there might have been other votes that were illegally counted. And I think these are the things that are prompting the Odinga camp to behave the way they are behaving. Otherwise, if there was a significant gap of, say, 10%, I think it would have been easier for them to concede. Although I think under the current circumstances, the best thing for the Odinga camp to do, I think, is conceding. It would be a good thing for them and the country.
Okay, and move the nation forward. We shall, of course, be looking into the life of Mr. Ruto and how he has come to be the kind of player within a setting that is not favorable to him, because he doesn't belong to establishment families like Uhuru Kenyatta or even Raila Odinga or any other politician within Kenya, and he's more the boy who has fought his way up. We are told, for example, that he was a chicken seller in his early days before he went to Nairobi University, where he made a name as a political activist, and of course taking advantage of the politics at the time to ensure that he's a blue-eyed boy for many of the politicians that came, including the late President Daniel Arap Moi. But that's a little bit later. Allow me involve you in helping us understand what could be a dilemma right now, the fact that 4 commissioners dissented from the result. And the IEBC Act, we do not have privy information on exactly how it is shaped, but the Constitution gives the chairperson of the Electoral Commission the power to announce the results. I was reading what appeared to be an extract. I cannot confidently say it was the right extract, but it appeared to say the chairperson tallies and compiles and then announces. It doesn't refer to the commission. So much so that some people are saying even if the 4 commissioners dissented, what Mr. Chebukati announced was valid and true. Well, that is debatable. What is your take?
I am not certain exactly, as you said, that what happens in this current situation when some commissioner, in fact, majority commissioners dissented with what he announced. But I think the responsibility of announcing is upon him, so he had to announce. And I think under current circumstances, the only thing that can happen is for the Odinga camp to either go to court and contest these results, which would require them to have some kind of evidence that they are going to present. I think that is the best route they can take if they can't concede. Otherwise, it will be very difficult because even the dissenting commissioners may not have any parallel results because what they allege is that the process was transparent until the last hours when certain results were probably added without their consent. That's what they claim. So we don't know what evidence they have. We are waiting for them to say a little bit more. But I think what he announced may stand the test of law because he has the responsibility as the returning officer.
Okay, interesting there. We shall, of course, be waiting on him. Mr. Kisembo, you represent an initiative that looks at the youth, empowering them and ensuring that they become the drivers of economic transformation going into the future. Of course, away from the semantics of being told the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Mr. Ruto has comfortably and effectively brought the story of the youth to the fore in terms of coining the word hustlers in Kenya. The hustlers are the people who are grappling with everyday life and trying to ensure that they do whatever they can to ensure that life comes, becomes what it is, or the better it becomes for them. With your youth background and the fact that you're dealing with some of these problems that hustlers in Kenya are dealing with, do you see Mr. William Ruto as more like the champion that he has, projected himself to be, or he's a man taking advantage of a wave and perhaps then that he has gotten the vote that he wanted and he has the mantle of president, he could well now go on his agenda and not necessarily pursue the hustlers' agenda?
No, when you look at Ruto, I think from around 2013, he has been a deputy vice president, meaning he has been very key, very instrumental in some of the policies that are now in Kenya. Yeah. And any other person would really feel at ease because when you look at the population, most especially Uganda's population about 78 to 80, less than 30 I mean 78 to 80, they are less than 30 years. So what does this actually point to the youth? The youth outside there, basically we have problems like of unemployment, problems of corruption, problems of poverty. I think it is the same problem that is being faced actually by Kenyans or the youth in Kenya. So Ruto is having up a task. Is having these issues because coming in as a president when the whole world is in this crisis of the pandemic, the whole world is in a crisis like this war in Ukraine. You can look at fuel prices have gone high, and yet most of the people, you find that there are about 3 classes of people. There is the few or the minority few which are very okay, prosperous. That is now when you talk about the socio-economic classes. Then
the proverbial 1%.
Yes, we have the majority few, the majority but which are educated. Then also the majority which are not educated. So all these, they need to be employed. They need to be given something at least which can help them rise from those poverty levels. So from there, I think Ruto should see how basically, because when you look at his manifesto, even you look at Odinga's manifesto, they have also been very, very okay for them. So in case he fought corruption, because Kenya right now is also facing that issue, like a lot of money, when you look at their budget, you find their budget, most of the money that is always passed to the budget is always what? Is always, it goes into corruption. Actually, they don't use most of the money, and right now, what is coming up to actually fight is this heavy debt, like of the standard railway gauge, the Kenyatta infrastructure. Actually, they got a lot of money. So Ruto has a very, very big problem in terms of accommodating most of these youth, because the youth have really to be given skills that can really help them, just like the way he came from chicken selling and he has risen to the ladders to the president. He has a lot of work to do, and this needs literacy. We may call it skills literacy, I don't know, but he needs
massive
really
sensitization.
Sensitization. And of course, he has to live by that example. He should not now think that things are now okay. I wanted to be president, I'm now he should still press on. Go to the communities, go to the least advantaged people, try to be, actually he's a very good orator. He can really change things in Kenya. And of course, the good news, we have like East Africa, he doesn't have egos. Like with these other presidents of East Africa. We have not seen him maybe colliding with the President Kagame or President Museveni.
Probably because he wasn't a president himself.
Those egos. So we look at him as a very good person. Even in terms of business, we think that East Africa and Uganda even will benefit more from Ruto administration.
Many thanks for bringing up something that I was, of course, going to raise a little bit shortly. The fact that as a politician, Ruto has come off as is not aggressive in terms of wanting to overshadow some others, but he has demonstrated sometimes there is a spark in there of a man who is not comfortable not being in charge. And that could be a bit of a problem. Allow me to ask Dr. Gerald Walulya to take us through the fact that in 2005 and 2010, William Ruto opposed the referendum in Kenya and the changes that were wanted. He has also successfully led the project that led to the denial or the rejection of the BBI project that was pushed by Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta and Mr. Raila Odinga. His credentials on constitutionalism require a lot more polishing and fine-tuning. Do you see him being the man who will strengthen what loopholes remain within Kenya's constitutional setup?
I think I will start from the hustler's tag.
Okay.
I think he has been marketing himself as a hustler, and he has used this to his advantage.
That's right.
More like the SEA tag we had here, a common man's, common person's candidate. But I think this was for just a political gain. He's a former hustler who is no longer a hustler. Yeah. So he only wanted to use it to his advantage. I see that the distance Kenya has moved in terms of constitutionalism and rule of law may help him a lot in strengthening what is already existing. Yeah. It may be difficult for him to try and tamper and change certain fundamental things. First of all, because he doesn't have a very, he's not going to have a very friendly parliament because he has so many opposition or MPs. So that is going to cushion the governance structures to help him to not to touch certain things that he shouldn't touch. So, as he said yesterday, I expect him to build on the foundation that they have worked on with President Uhuru, rather than trying to break up certain things. I know that he may have his own ideas on how he wants certain things to be done, but whether those ideas will be achieved may be a different thing, because he's facing a different kind of environment where there are no pushovers. There are many people, as you have seen Chebukati, of course, as an example. That's right. People who are in positions of power and authority in Kenya, they know that they don't owe these positions to anyone. So I know that many people may stand up against him in case he wants to do something that they believe to be illegal or unconstitutional.
Okay, interesting there. No doubt we shall be looking forward to exactly how he does it. One thing I know is that there was a time when President Uhuru Kenyatta was supposed to attend to trial in the ICC, and the gentleman was named acting president. Now, within that period of time, it wasn't long, but the fact that he did and everything went on smoothly demonstrated for the African context that things can actually happen. Now, in light of the fact that he's now within State House with all the powers, do you see, Mr. Kisembo, a William Ruto who would like to, settle scores, especially given the fact that coming into this election there was a lot of animosity, most of it caused by the fact that he fell out, or I don't know who fell out with the other, but they both did with Mr. Kenyatta. Do you see him? Of course, in the speech yesterday, he was very conciliatory, and he said he's going to be working with just about everybody. But do you see him playing the political end game on that, especially towards Mr. Kenyatta?
Yeah, actually, when you look at, I will call it his statements yesterday, he was even welcoming the opposition, that they are going to act as pointers, not just like for us here in Uganda. We say that by 2020 something, I have to finish up the opposition. But for him, he has another approach. He appreciates the opposition, that they are pointers. For him to succeed in whatever he's going to do for the people of Kenya, he has to appreciate the work of the opposition. And when you look at Kenyan politics, we have seen very many people, over 30 of them, MPs, consider the defeat, even minus the Independent Electoral Commission actually announcing the official results. A person comes out clearly and says, I concede defeat. I mean defeat. So that was clear signs that in Kenya's politics, they are there because of the will of the people. And you should know that that power is always lent to you. It is always lent to you. And that's why you enter into that social political contract. If the people say, we don't want you, we don't want you. If the people say, we want you, we want you. And it is all about service. Not someone saying that, no, I will impose myself on the people. There, it is about service. If you don't deliver, there are other people, because there is room of competition of ideas. Competition of ideas, and if, of course, this competition of ideas, you cannot have the same seat at the same time. So there is that patience that let us first leave Ruto for 5 years. We see how you work. If you do the best, we shall add you 5 years. If you don't do what we expect from you, then there are other people who are marketing themselves. Remember, there are so many alliances you have seen.
Yeah.
Ruto has a Kwanza alliance, the other one has Azimio. There are so many alliances, and Kenya, each and every time, after a decade or after 5 years, they always rebrand themselves. So we expect more bright ideas from politicians there. I think Ruto will really do whatever it takes to satisfy the people of Kenya.
Well, we shall leave the people.
I see much of what he said yesterday more like political rhetoric. He only said things which will sound nice in the ears of whoever will be hearing. But I don't believe that. I think he may still go after some people. Even during elections, he had promised that he will not touch Kenyatta and whatever, whoever he's working with or whatever they are doing. But that will only be the case to the extent that their existence does not hurt his presidency. If it comes to a point where maybe he thinks that these people are building up something that may bring me down, I think he will certainly clamp down on some people.
All right, no doubt. We shall be waiting to see exactly how he rolls out as the new president of Kenya. Let's return to, well, close quarters and what this particular new trend or new development means for Uganda. Mr. William Ruto has been here several times, many times. Pictures have shown him visiting the farm at Mr. Museveni's farm, and that's Kisozi. They've also driven around in that V8, that massive armored car, and the body language has been one of camaraderie, unlike where we saw Odinga come in and then there was a bit of a distance between the two. Well, you could explain that the other one came at a time when COVID had completely altered the way of interaction. But how do you see Mr. Museveni and Mr. Ruto working together, interacting? Are there any fundamental differences that could put the East African community push or fast-tracking into jeopardy?
I think the choice of Ruto is a good one for Uganda's establishment, first of all.
Okay.
Judging from their previous relationship.
Yeah.
I'm even surprised that up to this point they have not sent him any, maybe they have sent private congratulatory messages, but we have not seen a public congratulatory message. But judging from their previous relationship, I think the presidents of Uhuru will blend well with the Ugandan leadership because of their previous friendship, especially Ruto with President Museveni. So I think the tensions that we have normally seen, for instance, in trade, may kind of subside because I think a phone call may change so many things between these two leaders. So the other thing is that Ruto has behaved in a way that seems to pay allegiance or to be loyal to President Museveni. And President Museveni likes to be seen as an elder in the region, so he wants to be listened to. So if he's going to continue like this, I think they will have a good relationship. And when leaders have a good relationship, this will translate into benefits to us, the citizens who live in these two countries. And I think he's someone who is also looking forward to mending fences with other nations where maybe that have not been having a good relationship with Kenya, and those that don't relate well among each other, even when they are not about Kenya. For instance, if it's an issue between DR Congo and Rwanda, he's someone I see who may be interested in seeing that things are going on well. So I think the presidents of Ruto is a better choice for Uganda than the one of Odinga, because Odinga, having spent so many years in the opposition, is seen as someone who will be more sympathetic to people, especially seeing the conditions of opposition politicians in Uganda. I think people who are in leadership in Uganda see him as someone who would be more sympathetic to the opposition.
Do you agree with that, especially in the light that now that Ruto has powers as president, he will be speaking to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on the same wavelength? It's no longer about a 50-year-old politician who is seeking to be, well, a blue-eyed boy somewhere, trying to look out to a mentor. Do you see that relationship being maintained, or we shall have another ego rising up, and then they need to be level?
Yeah, for now, I think Ruto has worked with President Museveni from 2019. Actually, that is when I started getting to know about Ruto.
Okay.
Maybe the previous days he was in Parliament, I may not have known him. But when you look at Ruto, his relationship with Uganda actually is firm. It is firm, and it is good news for Uganda, even other East African member states. As I have told you, Ruto is down to earth, is ready to work with anyone. You have not had him with the wrangles with the Rwanda, even here Sudan or Congo. Ruto has here been very calm. He doesn't have egos, because he has been an acting president. Any bad leader, we would be seeing that. But to me, I think Ugandans, they are blessed to have Ruto. As you have seen, that Ruto has been with our president here for long. And even the other side, Odinga, who has been a competitor, he has been also in bed with the opposition here. So don't only look at Ruto with the president, but
also look at Odinga with the opposition.
Yes, with that fair.
All right, that brings us to our very last question when it comes to the politics going forward. Mr. Odinga now has a chance to either go into a political limbo and, well, do something else, retire peacefully and do some business, or he has, well, like Africans think, the chance to mount what could be another political game, whatever way he plans to play it. I do not know exactly how it will play out. What advice would you give Mr. Odinga right now?
I think Mr. Odinga, even after losing this election, will remain an influential politician in Kenya. It doesn't mean that he will necessarily be a presidential candidate in the next 5 years, but he will still be influential in determining who becomes a president. So I think for me, the best choice for him to make now is to come out clearly and first of all thank the people of Kenya who have stood with him throughout these many elections and struggles that he's been through. And I think the best gift he can give them as a country is to, first of all, concede defeat and accept that whereas certain things might not have gone well, he respects this decision, and he wants to wish that Kenya moves on from this election. I think that's the best thing that he can do under the current circumstances, and I think many Kenyans will remember him for that if he did it.
Okay. Mr. Kisembo, your last words?
Yeah, to me, I think Kenya is bigger than everyone. These two people, they are going to serve, and of course Kenya will remain. So they have to look at how Kenya started and where it is standing. And of course, they have to preserve whatever they have attained. This is the 5th president. There are other presidents who came, and we don't have any history in Kenya that maybe the former presidents have been in exile. They are peacefully living there, and we don't want that also to happen. Odinga also will be respected in the history of Kenya because he has done a very, very good job as a pointer throughout his life. The father did the same. So he's a respected man in Kenya, and the Kenyans respect him. So I don't think any problem that maybe come up. But of course, the constitution allows him, even at 80-something, he can still
no doubt
contest.
about that. We will see exactly how he reacts. Emmanuel Kisembo, chairperson of the Bunyoro Youth Initiative, many thanks for the perspective and insight on these latest developments in the region. Many thanks to you too. Dr. Gerald Walulya, a political analyst, for making time for the show. We are emboldened by your opinion on this matter. And Morning at NTV continues. That's the hashtag on Twitter. I am at Chris Higenyi. We shall be delving into our Take Note discussion, and it is matters health. Like I said earlier in the program, many people spend their first part of life losing their health, and the second part of it restoring it. It is important that you live in a way that ensures that you actually live your life well in the latter stages. Stay with us. I'll be right back.